Well, Scream 7 is out, so it's time again to rank every Ghostface killer from the Scream franchise. All 17 of them. You heard me right. Let's get into this thing. Alright, so here's the tier list. And we're going to start in order of their reveals, basically. So, first up, we've got Billy and Stu. Now, Billy is obviously one of the most iconic Ghostface characters. He's sort of the main Ghostface in the first film, right? So, and this guy, I said this in the last ranking, he's such a freak. Throughout this entire film, he's such a weirdo. It's so obvious that he's the killer that it becomes implausible because it's just too obvious. His first appearance in the movie, he's sneaking into a window and referencing horror movies. And it's 1996, so he has that hair, you know what I mean? Yes, this hair, this hair, this hair. And is there anywhere else that you could put Billy other than S tier? No. Moving along to Stu. Stu's also going in S tier, right? We're not even going to sit here and debate that. And with Scream 7 having just released, it was, kind of cool to see him pop up there. But let's be real, I think it was honestly disappointing. And we're moving right along to Mickey, the creepy Tarantino film student. Now, I really do like Timothy Olyfantastic. He pops up here and there in some stuff I really, really enjoy and like him in. But given how all of these people act so crazed during their monologues, no one's comes close to Billy's and Stu's. Matthew Lillard is so unhinged, but it's believable. With Mickey, I think I said this in the last one too, but he gives theater kid energy, you know? He's being theatrical as fuck and he knows it. But if we're ranking them really all up and down this list, we're going to throw in the C tier. The most interesting thing about him is that she says that when she found him, he was already a serial killer. He just needed her guidance. And I love the little picture I chose for her face. Mrs. Loomis. We're actually going to throw her in the B tier. I think she's definitely a step above Mickey. Again, her performance of Crazed works very well. It does not, in fact, give theater kid energy. And if you grew up watching Roseanne, this is just wacky as hell to see. Moving right along to Roman from Scream 3. I think I actually like Roman a tad bit more than Mickey, but I don't like him as much as I like Mrs. Loomis. The voice changer thing in this one is just unbelievable for the time, right? But I don't know, something makes me want to put him in the B tier. I think I just like Roman a little bit, you know? I don't know what it is. Him as Ghostface is, at least in the reveal, not bad. And here's where things are probably going to get really controversial for people. I really like Charlie. Charlie is going to be our first A-tier Ghostface for me. Now, he's no Billy, he's no Stu, right? But this is the first character that actually cares about horror films in relation to what he's doing. Now, Roman is kind of acting out a bunch of meta stuff, but it's really just the torture Sidney. Mickey, while I guess you could argue is a, horror fan, he does spend his time saying that the action sequels to horror films are better. Alien, horror film. Aliens, action film. I mean, if we're just being raw about it, technically they're both sci-fi action horror. Terminator, same thing. First one, that's a slasher movie. Second one, big budget action movie. And they're both, listen, actually all four of those films are fucking awesome. But there's just something about Charlie I like. At least until he's an incel. That incel reveal is pretty much a bummer. He tried to take out Kirby, you know what I mean? That's just awful. I love that they have the Stabathon and stuff. A character who's actively killing people is doing that. That's fucking just hilarious to me. And now we talk about his counterpart, Jill. It seems like Charlie Walker is like the horror brains for Jill. She obviously just used him because she doesn't seem like the most knowledgeable person in horror. She seems like her friend group is very knowledgeable in it, so. However, her reveal as Ghostface is still one of my all-time favorites. She is going to be the third addition to the S tier for me. I love Jill Roberts. I wish we would have gotten that full Jill Roberts trilogy, but what are you going to do? Next up, we've got Amber and Richie, and these are some interesting ones, right? Some of the motivations start to lack here a little bit. You could say that even with Jill's if you really wanted to, but this is where they really wobble. She moves into the Mocker house and becomes obsessed with it meets Richie on forums online, and they hook up and do this shit together. The toxic fandom and thinking that they know better than the actual filmmakers, this whole element, right? Again, I wouldn't like these characters so much if they weren't such good actors and portrayals of these characters. Like, I recognized Amber when I watched this movie for the first time from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and she has a very similar fate in this movie. I don't think she's bad, but she is almost giving Mickey's theater kid energy. But I think she's right on par with you know, anybody who's not Billy or Stu or Jill. And we're going to throw her in the B tier. She was another one of those characters that seemed a little obvious of a choice to pick, so you kind of weren't suspecting her throughout that movie. Richie, on the other hand, was just too likable and charming before. So it completely checked out when he was Ghostface. And even though his monologue is kind of bullshit, it's very entertaining, and he pulls it off well. I don't know if I'm just one of those people who just likes Richie. That's why he's going up there with Charlie. Richie and Charlie. Big fan. And then next up we've got Jason from Scream 6. Now I don't think people expected me to put Jason and Greg on this list. Really, Greg is just for laughs. But Jason, this movie, when it introduced this Ghostface, you know, none of us knew that it wasn't going to be a regular thing. I think the most fascinating thing to me is the last little blade slice that finally kills the person is usually, these days, what you see in a Scream movie right before when the knife rips across it, like rips across the screen and you see the Scream logo and whatnot, right? This movie subverts that. So when he does that slice, it just gets quiet. And then he leans down and takes off his mask. And I'm thinking, holy shit, are they going to show us a movie where we know who Ghostface is? Or a Ghostface, at least? And then they quickly abandon that element, unfortunately. Kill them off. And ruin what I think could have been a brilliant change-up in the franchise. Plus, I can't think of that actor's name, but I do really like him. First time I think I saw him was Grand Budapest Hotel, the Wes Anderson movie. He's really young in it, but it's awesome. Obviously, he was in the Spider-Man movies recently. But I think he's really talented. I like that guy. But since they kill him off, I can't really say, like, oh, he's one of the best. You know, I'm going to throw him in the B tier, because I think that guy had potential, you know? I think that storyline, more specifically, had potential. He was just another one of those movie fans obsessed, but it's really the element where they introduced a Ghostface calling a Ghostface. You know what I mean? Ghostface versus Ghostface. That was such a cool idea. And then we've got Greg. Greg is just found in the fridge, right? He's D tier, right? Greg doesn't even kill anyone as far as we know. But he sure does get killed. Then we've got Detective Bailey from Scream 6, sort of the mastermind. I don't even know if he's ever really in the Ghostface outfit, because he's not in the climax. He might have just had his kids do all his dirty work. And what I will say is this actor did a great job with what he was given, but I think him overall, I don't think is great. He's going to be on the same tier as Mickey here because, you know, it wasn't complete shit or anything. It's a good performance. It's just Scream 6 doing the whole George Lucas poetry shit where they repeat the stuff from Scream 2. And then we've got Ethan and Quinn. And what I will say is they're entertaining, but Ethan's going to go in the D tier because, I don't know, it was obvious that he was one of the killers, right? The whole movie. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. And then Quinn we're going to throw in the C tier with her dad and Mickey. I liked faking her death. It genuinely surprised people when she was not dead and was one of the killers. Fascinating as hell. And that leaves us with all three new Ghostface killers from Scream 7, the moment you've been waiting for. I didn't have a picture of Carl, so I just grabbed the Ghostface that Carl is in the house scene with Sydney. Here's the thing. Part of me wants to put this in D tier, but we're going to go C and I will explain why. Obviously, this is not like a talented or cool Ghostface or anything like that. What makes it interesting, though, is this is the only thing new that Scream 7 did, was kill a Ghostface halfway through and then unmask them. Now, of course, this was more of a manipulated Ghostface. He's not even a mastermind of any kind, but fascinating and new nonetheless. That's why it's C, not D. And then we've got Ethan Embry as Marco, and this is a fascinating one for me. I like Ethan Embry as an actor. I think he did a good job. So when he starts talking to them when they're in the hospital, it just seems obvious to me that he's Ghostface. Because he recognizes Matthew Lillard, and he's like, oh yeah, that's this guy down here, you know? It's just ridiculous. However, he himself, I did find interesting as a killer for the brief moment he was on screen. He also had zero motivation, though. So I have a problem with that. I'm so conflicted. Just because I like Ethan Embry, it's going C tier. His motivation, again, if you can come up with one, let me know in the comments, because I might have just missed that. They might have been like, meh. He's just like, I mean, I get that he worked at the mental hospital. I get that he knew all about this AI stuff. He was gifted there. That's about it. And then he's shot so quick that you don't even know what happened. Like, I genuinely was like, was he shot just now? Like, there weren't enough frames on screen. And lastly, Jess, who is the new mastermind of Scream 7. Her motivation is Sydney's trauma, somehow. I don't know. I still think it's the worst motive ever. But I think her performance was great. I'm also going to throw her in C tier, but take note, this is because, although her motivation was shit, and maybe the worst of all, because Ethan Embry, while he just had no motivation, there wasn't one explained to me, as far as I'm aware. Jess, hers was shit. Her being the neighbor, having coffee with Sydney in her shop, her son being a true crime nerd, like, he was a suspect at one point, you know, but she kills him off. She kills her own son. Now, she's truly one of the most mentally insane of these people who's unaware of what they're really fucking going through and doing. Which is why it's so unbelievable, I think, that she even could act as normal as she was, for as long as she was. That's the Ghostface tier list. Let me know how you guys would rank the Ghostface killers down below in the comments. I would love to hear about it. Everybody's going to have something different to say about this, so let's chat about it below. Quick thank you to my channel members and Patreon subscribers. If you want more ectoviolence, including exclusive videos and behind-the-scenes content, become a member by clicking the links in the description below.